Welcome to another episode of Distory. My name is Kirk from walruscarp.com, your spot for the latest hacks, snacks, and fun facts, and of course, theme park clothing that doesn't stink. And with me, as always, is the Congoloosh Kate, the Disney Cicerone, the one who knows way too much about the waters and rivers of America. Kate, how are we...
Why are we talking about the rivers of America?
I don't know, because I'm just like adding in more historical facts that I know you know way more than anybody else on the earth. And I'm also enjoying these extended ones. Kate, the Disney Cicerone. Hi, Kate.
Hi, Kirk, for that wonderful introduction. I'm very happy to finish our jungle screw. That's not a word. Jungle cruise. I've been on the jungle cruise all day. I feel like I left my brain there. So,
Well,
I'm very excited to dive back into our jungle cruise jokes / script series. I should say script, not jokes, because it wasn't always jokes, as we found out last week. So
no.
we get to go from starting with the African Velt on all the way, hopefully through the end. We'll see, I guess, how far we get.
No, come on. Come on. We're not just going to hold up our pants today with the African Velt. We're going to get on and get as close as we can to the docks.
Okay. Hold up our pants at the African Velt. Oh, I get it, because it's like a belt. Oh, man.
I don't want to do it, but I want to tap this to see if this thing's on. Hello?
Oh, no.
Okay.
So the way that we did this last week was we were moving through the decades. So we're going to go scene by scene, and then we're going to give the script for what we have through the decades. Now, it gets a little more convoluted in the later years because there's a lot of options, whereas in the beginning it was a pretty strict script. So we'll kind of read more of the 50s and 60s, and then we'll just kind of pick and choose out of the 70s on, just so we're not here for 4 hours, as much as I love hanging with all y'all. So, Kirk, do you want to...
I'd prefer the long version, Kate. So...
I do too. I mean, I'd hang with you all night if we could. We can talk Distory for till the wee hours. I don't think. I think I need
so
to sleep,
would you
though.
care for me to would you like me to start the 1950s African Velt?
Yeah, I did it last week, so you get to do the original script for the Jungle Cruise. I think. Go for it.
Sweet. I'll do my best deadpan that I can.
Okay.
African Velt, 1950s. I wonder what those vultures are waiting for. There's your answer. Lions and zebra. No one is invited to this family's dinner, which I guess is kind of a joke.
Oh yeah,
That's like as close to like a joke as it could be.
I think this is the only place we get the like quasi jokes, because then there's the next one.
Up ahead is a friendlier couple. Now you can tell the folks back home that you've had a nodding acquaintance with Mr. and Mrs. Giraffe. And now, nodding acquaintance is because the giraffes would go like this. It's like those waiting birds that you could put in front of your keyboard to pretend that you're working during your work from home, so
And
you're
they
not
were-
idle on your keyboard.
They were just like heads too, you know. I think we talked about this in our animal episode about the jungle.
We did.
Cruise. But they didn't have bodies, so they were just like long necks with heads, and they would just go like this. That's all there was. So then they would nod. Hence the joke. So that one is actually considered like the main joke, the beginning joke of the Jungle
It's
Cruise.
really funny.
Well, remember how we talked about in the queue that little nod to this joke in the Banana Troop. The Banana Troop said, "This is our first joke," and it's very similar to this one. It's not exactly the same, but it's a nod to this first joke of the Jungle Cruise, which I think is so clever.
Not so great, but the Banana Troop loves it.
That's so true. Okay, so moving on to the 1960s script. We're in the African Velt. Again, this is more... 1960s is when Mark Davis started introducing more of the humorous scenes, which we will get into in more of our episodes, because all the Mark Davis concept art, we really just have to move scene by scene and go through all of that, because it's a lot. But this is 1960s. We start seeing a little bit more humor, but it's not all humor. It's not all jokes yet. So this is the African Velt for the 1960s. Waterfalls mark the entrance to the expansive grassland region of the African Velt. Because of the migratory habits of the beasts of the jungle, this area is often inhabited by gazelles, gnus, zebras, and giraffes. Say, look in that tree! Vultures waiting for their share. And here, dens of laughing hyenas and jackals and packs of hungry lions feasting on one of their unsuspecting prey. This region tells the story and points up the law of the African Velt, the survival of the fittest. And that's it.
And like the survival of the fittest in the African Velt, the fitter you are, the more notches on the African Velt you can actually get tighter. So
You're just gonna milk that for all it's worth.
That was a different one. That's like an extra joke.
Were you doing stuff while I was doing it? You were, weren't you? Because they're
I
like
I was doing things, but yes. But
these episodes are unhinged with the jokes.
Dude, that was a good tag-on joke. I like that one because it's like it's a belt joke, survival of the fittest. I feel like there's a better joke in there. There's a better joke in there.
It was good.
Okay. Moving right along. 1970s.
1970s.
African Velt. These waterfalls
It's almost exactly the same.
Yeah, these waterfalls mark our approach to the great African Velt. This immense grassland region inhabited by the almost endless variety of wildlife. And it talks about, again, zebras, gnus, hungry lions. And then there are scavengers of the jungle, vultures and jackals waiting for their share. Again, it's the same exact one. This is the story of the African Velt, law of the jungle, survival of the fittest.
So the 1960s and 70s, that really didn't change that much. And it's interesting that we almost had more jokes in the 50s than we did in the 60s and the 70s.
Yeah, totally.
So it just like went backwards, which is so opposite of what you think for the progression of the Jungle Cruise.
Yeah, it's odd. Right.
Let's see, 1980s. Let me see if we have the 1980s.
We do. I have it up.
Okay, go for it.
Pointing to the baboons, the rocks. By the looks of those baboons up there, something's up on the great African Velt. Aha! It looks like a pride of lions has made a kill, and the cleanup crew, those hungry vultures, are waiting for their share. This region points out the basic law of the jungle, survival of the fittest. And then
they really like that survival of the fittest one. That just
but
keeps coming back.
So there are approved alternatives here. And this one has a better joke on it at the very end. So I'm going to skip a little bit ahead in it and go, those are zebras, and those big tall ones with the long necks, those are giraffe. And the black ones over here with horns, well, I've never seen them before. They must be new. Because
we found a joke.
It's a wildebeest joke with new, because GNU is also another alternative name for wildebeest, and it's also the sound that they make. New.
Yeah, new is like a joke that they really used a lot back in the day. We hear it less, I think, these days. It's really like not a easy one to make a joke out of, because it's like more of a written joke than a verbal joke.
Yeah. I mean, you guys know that it's spelled GNU, but their favorite boy band was also New Kids on the Block.
Okay.
I felt like I almost got you with the old Frozen gag.
Oh, gosh. Okay. So I think the 1980s is where we start to see a lot more of that humor come in general. That's been the general trend of the script. So going ahead to the 1990s, now we have a lot of jokes here. We'll just pick some of our favorites.
Yep.
I have one that says, look at that family of baboons. There's Pat Baboon, Debbie Baboon, Daniel Baboon, and the hairstyles Fidel Baboon. It's a very 90s joke. which I
Yeah.
appreciate.
I like Vidal Baboon.
Vidal Baboon.
I mean, they do another one that's kind of like a. I'll just do the beginning part of it. But we have the baboon family over there. It mentions all the names, but then he goes, That's not a baboon. That's my ex-girlfriend." But you're like, when do we? I mean, we do get. That reminds me of my ex-boyfriend. We or ex-girlfriend. We get a lot of those in the Hippo area, at least in Walt Disney World. But yeah.
How do you tell the difference between male and female zebras? Males have black and white stripes, and the females have white and black stripes.
Yeah. I like this one because you guys know that they've used this survival of the fittest joke through several decades, but this is actually a switch up, so pay attention. "By the look of those baboons, something's up there in the Great African Velt. Aha, it looks like a pride of lions has made their kill, and the cleanup crew, those hungry vultures, are waiting for their share. This region points out the basic law of the jungle. Don't be a zebra."
So, that's interesting because remember how we saw how the Schweitzer Falls joke changed? Because they would say, "This is Dr. Albert," and everybody's waiting for them to say Schweitzer, and they say
Yeah.
Falls, and that's what makes it funny, even though that's kind of gotten lost over the years because nobody knows it's actually Albert Schweitzer. Now they just think it's Albert Falls.
Right.
So that's interesting that they made that change specifically because people were used to that other version. And so that's like a comedic, thing to switch it up. Like, "Oh, we got you because this is different than what you'd expect." That's
Yeah,
really interesting.
it's the same as the Nile joke. It goes on for Niles and Niles and Niles.
Niles.
And if you don't believe me, you're in. And
you say
everybody
denial.
would say denial. And then they had to switch it up. So it's probably the same exact thing. Even though those other ones weren't jokes, they were just used to that script so much, which I think is great.
Yeah, I think it's lovely that they decided to switch it up to surprise people
Yeah.
every so often. I have one more for this section from the 90s. It says, "We're about to enter the African Velt, an immense grassland, home to an endless variety of wildlife. Baboons, wildebeests, giraffes, gazelles, gnus, galions." I think it's gnus. They say gnus for this. Gnus,
Gnus.
galions, gazebras, etc. So I think they do actually pronounce the G there to make it make sense.
Yeah, it would make it a lot funnier. And that's why it hits it with giraffes, gazelles, gnus, lions, gazebras.
I feel like I've heard that one almost fairly recently too. I think that one stuck around.
And then the other one that I like only because of the time period and thematics with the Lion King. So we're at the African Velt, right at the zebra. And this is the first time we get the more popular zebra sleeping joke. "Oh, don't worry, kids. See, the lions are only protecting that sleeping zebra. Look, it's Simba and Nala from the Lion King. Can you feel the love tonight?" And it literally says, "Sing. Can you feel the love tonight?"
That's so timely for the 90s.
Yeah, exactly.
That's great. And then we have more of the hopping forward to more of our modern day script for the African Velt. I have, "It looks like that pride of lions has made a kill, and the cleanup crews, those hungry vultures, are waiting their share." See, sound familiar, right? "This points out the basic law of the jungle. Never be a zebra." So that one stuck around from the 90s all the way till today. I like this one. "Do you know why it's so hard to eat a zebra? You keep getting white meat, dark meat, white meat, dark meat, white meat, dark meat."
I like that one. That one's good. I've heard iterations of that still.
I think I heard that today, actually, when I was there.
I usually hear it during the Jungle Cruise because they talk about like getting your Thanksgiving zebra, but everybody always fights over the white meat, the dark meat, the white meat, the dark meat, the white meat.
That's a good one.
Yeah. And then a little tagline to the end, if you just wanted to say, "Remember the first law of the jungle, don't be a zebra. I'd be lion if I didn't tell you that." And then this is where the one of the most famous jokes comes around, actually in a script. "Oh, look, the lions are taking care of that sleeping zebra. He looks dead. Dead tired, that is."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that back in the 90s? I think we might have just skipped it because I feel like it was.
I don't think so. What, really? I mean, I'm scrolling back.
Yeah, I don't see it.
I don't see it either.
We have hungry vultures. We have a lot about baboons. Like they really
Lots
focused
of
on the baboons.
Yep,
They have
and,
something
and
about
zebras and gnus.
They have something about Chanel number 5. You smell pretty good like Chanel number 5. Okay. Yeah, no. So that's a more modern joke.
Yep.
Sometime between the 90s and now. So that might have been like early 2000s maybe that we saw that. Interesting. Because I think of that as like a classic joke with the sleeping zebra. It's
Yeah.
actually fairly new.
It's very GNU.
It's very GNU. Alrighty, shall we hop to the next section?
Rhinos for the 1950s. For rhinos, we're in big game country, so look sharp, everyone. Quick, over there. That rhino is 2 tons of dynamite. Which, it's,
That's it.
yeah, okay.
That's it. Yeah. This actually is interesting because the scenes with the rhinos is almost like them charging through the grasses is what they
Right.
had at that point. We don't have the rhinos anymore. They're long gone. But I believe they disappeared when all of the changes in the early 60s happened with Mark Davis's scenes. And we just like lost the rhinos. So 1960s, a script for the rhinos. I don't think I have them.
You
See?
do.
We
This
do?
tall grass means big game country. We must be on the lookout. Wild animals come down from the river to drink. Oh, there's a family of rhinos, a mama rhino and 2 babies, and I think we frightened the young ones, but not mama. She's not afraid. She must weigh over 2 tons, and believe me, she knows how to throw her weight around. Which that's kind of a joke, a little bit.
Yeah, a
like
little bit.
because like throwing your weight around. Yes, they're actually talking about her physical size and stature, but also like people have said that for like someone's title or leadership, or in this case, a mother.
Yeah. And that's the last time we see the rhinos. So there's no other ones in any of the other ones because they get removed from the Jungle Cruise and we don't see them again. So now we get to hop back to the 50s because we don't have any other decades for the rhinos in particular.
Yeah, the Rhinos, they got a gig doing backup for Dave Matthews. They're really big in that song, Crash. Into me. If you don't know, a group of rhinos is called Crash. This is called Explaining Jokes by Kirk. They're a lot funnier when I do that.
I mean, I understood it because I've heard you call him Crash before, but you
Yeah.
really did have to explain that because not everybody knows that.
Yep, I got it.
All right. Back to the 50s, back in time we're headed to the elephants. So these are not the elephant pool yet. This is the elephants that you see on the sides, on either side.
Yeah, so in the case of Disneyland, it's post African Velt. It is pre African Velt in the Walt Disney World of things.
Yeah, they're a little bit different order depending on where you're at.
Yeah.
All right, so the elephants we have. Oh wait, this is your turn. So you got to do the dead
You got
man
it.
one.
Elephants. Take it easy, big boys. We're just passing by. Who made it? Another Tusker? Must be his mate.
Yep,
Funny.
it's so dry.
It is very dry.
So dry. Okay. So then in the 1960s, we have, look on that bank, a big bull elephant. The enormous ears and the sloping forehead mark the African bull elephant, one of the most feared animals of the jungle. There's another one. Don't get excited now, big boy. We're just passing through. I love how we're like talking to the elephants as if they're going to like listen to us.
Yeah, but I like that.
I know. Big boy.
Big boy.
Big
All right.
boy.
We're into the 70s. And on the right, this is obviously his mate. You can tell because she is better looking.
Okay.
This guy has an affinity for pachyderm. At the second elephant, yesterday he crossed the river using a boat as a stepping stone. Kind of broke up the crew. I'd like to say that at this time these animals are not dangerous. Yes, I would like to say that very much, but but I can't because they're extremely dangerous. That's a good one. I like that one.
It is good.
That's really funny. I would
Okay.
like to say that they're dangerous.
So then, hopping to the that was all of them, right? You got
That
them.
was all the, yes, we're in the
1980s.
80s.
Okay, the 1990s for the elephants. Again, there's a lot more here, so we're just kind of picking and choosing. On the left, we have an African bull elephant. And for those of you with short-term memory problems, on the right, we have an African bull elephant. So we're starting to see that joke come in, where it's like short-term memory, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I like this one. It says, on the left bank, there is a huge bull elephant. The large sloping forehead and enormous ears mark the African bull, like we had heard before. The second most feared animal in the jungle. On the other, the most feared animal in the jungle, his wife, or his mother-in-law. Yeah. Did you want to pick one from there?
No, I don't like the alternative one. I don't think it's very good.
In the 90s?
Yeah, I don't really like it.
Well, there's a whole bunch of them.
Oh, hang on. I was back in the 80s. Sorry, I'm going back in time.
Back to the future, my friend.
Oh my gosh! I thought we like skipped over the 80s for a second.
So these are jokes. I've got a question. These are not just jokes for Disney World. These were actually jokes for mostly Disneyland. There are some Disney World jokes kind of later, but these are scripts from Disneyland specifically.
Yep.
So.
Okay. I can work on my elephant. You guys want to hear my elephant impression? I'm going to take this away a little further, so
okay.
Because it's a little loud. Speak. You could do louder than that. Okay. We'd like some pictures, so stand still. Elephant stands perfectly still.
You should have imitated the boat with the infrared beam that like triggers the noise.
It's too much. I wasn't even expecting to do my elephant trumpet.
Oh my gosh. I don't understand the one that says like, let's give her a round of applause. Oh, that was that. That was after
No.
that.
That's just to include for because she was.
And then, so then it's up on the elephant's bank. We have African bull elephants. Those enormous ears and great tusks distinguish them from the Indian elephants we saw earlier. So there is still like some informational stuff that we still see a little bit in the 90s, but I think at this point it's mostly jokes. So moving on forward, trucking right along to the more recent ones. Are you there?
I am now.
Okay.
Do you want me to go?
Go for it.
On the left bank, the enormous ears and huge tusks tell us that that's an African elephant, the world's largest land animal. And for those of you with short memories, there on the right bank, the enormous ears and huge tusks tell us that that is an African elephant, the world's largest land animal.
Yeah.
And then we get the memory one. On the left is an African bull elephant. Do you know that these elephants have the best memory of any other animal? I wish I had a memory like that. And on the right is an African bull elephant. Did you know that these elephants have the best memory of any other animal? I wish I had a memory like that.
It's your joke.
It's a good one.
We finally arrived.
Whee!
But it's really late in the process, though.
Yeah,
Come about till later.
Yeah, we're not getting there until the 2000s.
All right. Back to the 1950s. Hopping back. So there is one that I believe I only have one for the 1950s, and I haven't seen it past there. So maybe they just didn't talk about it as much, or I might just not have it. That's also a possibility. But the water buffalo, which is one of my favorite things. If you know me, I love the water buffalo. And it just says, and here's double trouble, water buffalo.
Are there two water buffaloes in Disneyland?
Yeah. Well, there was. There isn't anymore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They were there. I think that they also got relocated to the end of the ride, I believe, when they did all of the Mark Davis changes. But I'll have to look into the exact timing of that. And then I'm pretty sure that they're still there, but I need to double check. So, okay. Do you want to do the 60s? Well, no, we didn't do That was all the water buffalo. I just said that, didn't I? Oh, gosh. So now we're approaching Schweitzer Falls.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to do this one?
Sure.
This is on the approach to it.
Yeah, I got it. There's a more refreshing sight, Schweitzer Falls. These falls were named after the famous Dr. Schweitzer, who as you know, watch it. The stern's going under. Boy, that was close. Last week we had to bail out the boat. That's actually a joke.
Yeah, it's kind of like they panic and they're like, "Oh no, like we're gonna go under," and they like start turning the wheel frantically, like they're gonna go into the waterfall.
I like that. That's a good misdirection.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like joke, but it's like a stunt
Yeah,
or something.
I don't know.
It's like
To me, it's like but it's yeah, sure.
Sure. Okay, so the 1960s. We're approaching beautiful Schweitzer Falls, named after the famous Dr. Albert Schweitzer, who's done so much for the people of Africa. I'll try to get in just as close as I can. Oh boy, I didn't think I was going to make it. That was almost too close. And then they launch into, up next is the famous Nile, the longest river in the world.
Again.
That's it.
All right, let's head into the, where are we at, 80s?
Yeah.
Or 70s?
70s.
70s. 70s is green, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You barely moved a muscle back then. You must have been paralyzed by fear. To someone in the back of the boat, aren't you glad you're on the right side? We'll get a different view this time. To a nearby guest. Submerged.
It's a little joke.
Little
Little joke.
Little tiny one.
Little joke. Okay, 1980s. And now we're approaching beautiful Schweitzer Falls, named after the famous African explorer Dr. Albert Falls. This is the first time we see Falls show up instead of Albert Schweitzer. Another version is, ahead is beautiful Schweitzer Falls, and the wheel appears to jam, and then the skipper tries to free it. Oh no, you folks in the back, lean in, duck, woo! That was close. So they have a little more of that physical comedy.
Mm-hmm.
And another one, the skipper has his back to the falls and is distracted by the gorilla and croc scene. He says, uh-oh, lean in back there, lean in. Motions to guests and then spins the wheels around. Woo, that was close. So it's all kind of this like physical comedy. If we're going to run into the waterfall, that's still all there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what do we got for the 90s?
We are. Again, over there is Schweitzer Falls, named after the famous Dr. Albert Falls. I'll let you read the two highlighted because I know you want them.
Yeah. Lean in the middle, lean in the middle. If you lean in the middle, we'll all sink evenly. That's a good one.
That's one that should come back. It's a good one. That's a really funny one.
Oh, and then there's this one.
Ooh, controversy.
Okay, brace yourself, friends.
This is...
Say what you will about women drivers, but I've never been good at making this turn. Hang on.
Ooh.
Kind of glad that one's not there anymore. They changed it to Falls instead of Schweitzer for, like, what you're talking about, it's comedy. So, like, it's, everybody expected them to say Schweitzer because they said it for, years up until the 80s. So that's almost 30 years of saying Schweitzer. So if they changed it and they say Dr. Albert and there would be a pause and then everybody would fill in their heads, they're thinking Schweitzer and they're waiting for it. And then they say Falls and they're like, it's just a joke because it's like, it's a waterfall. So that's why they changed it.
I really don't think that people fall for it anymore. Sounded fun. All right, let's moving right along.
Chugging along.
Common day. And now we're approaching beautiful Schweitzer Falls, named after the famous African explorer, Dr. Albert. That doesn't make sense, though. After the famous African explorer, Dr. Albert Falls. We also get here that mist that you're feeling is filled with X amount of bacteria. It's like millions and millions of jungle bacteria. And if you miss that, don't worry, we'll go over it later. You get that sometimes here.
Yeah. Yeah. Your shirt's driving me crazy on your microphone, friend.
It's only because I'm going like this. I was trying to make it hard for you to sound edit this. Is it working?
It's driving me nuts.
No, the wheel drives the boat. So, just saying.
All right. Hopping back to the 1950s, we are trucking right along. So we are to the Hippo pool. We've arrived to the Hippo pool, which is also the deepest part of the Jungle Cruise, because they had to make it the deepest because of the hippo mechanisms. So here is the you should do the 1950s.
Yeah. There's something up ahead. Hippopotami. The traffic is terrific along here. Kind of a joke. It's too late to turn back now. I sure hope one of these big bruisers doesn't come up under our boat. Watch on the right, a charging hippo. Hang on, everybody. Here he comes. Bang. This is pistol shooting. If he hits us, we're sunk. Bang, bang.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And then, so 1960s. Please be careful and don't rock the boat. We're entering a pool of hippopotami. They're big and curious and could easily upset the boat. I'll try to get us through safely. Don't worry. I understand they're not dangerous until they wiggle their ears. They're wiggling their ears. Easy now, easy. I think we made it. Hang on. A big hippo's charging broadside. Bang. That'll hold him. Look out. Look out. Another hippo. Bang. Oh, that scared him. And then you go out of the pool.
I gotta admit, I think that was your best performance so far.
Thank you. I'll work on it. I'm just trying.
No, it was
dramatic
really good.
reading. Thank you.
It was very. Okay, next decade. We're moving into a pool of dangerous hippos. So please sit real still and don't rock the boat. They're big and curious and could easily upset us. That's a hushed tone for you. I'll try to get through here safely, but don't be too worried, folks. They're not really dangerous unless they wiggle their ears, pointing at two hippos that are rising with their jaws open. Look at the jaws on these two monsters over there. Easy now, we've made it. Hang on. A big hippo's charging us broadside. Bang! That'll hold him. Look out, there's another one charging on the right. Bang! He'll sure have a headache tomorrow.
Needs to. Gosh, I think you'd have more than a headache.
Yeah.
I don't think for the 80s, because I don't have a complete script for the 80s, I only have a couple of pages. I don't think I see any hippo ones for the 80s, unfortunately. So we're going to hop over to the 90s. Again, we're picking and choosing ones from this. So I have, I guess it looks like one of them is going to try to tip us over. I'd better scare him away. Bang. Well, it looks like that did the trick. You could tell that they were scared all by the blank looks on their faces. And then if you're all real quiet, you can sometimes hear the baby hippos calling for their mothers. Shh. Real quiet now. Listen. Hey, Mom!
I like that one.
They do, so addressing the things that the guns that they did shoot, they still have those and they still use them. They just do not shoot them at the actual animals anymore. They shoot them in the trees or the bushes or the sky. Sometimes they don't shoot them at all. They will just yell instead. So it depends on what skipper you have. And I know in Disneyland they use them a little bit more than they do here that I've seen. Almost.
Yeah, and the guns went away and then came back in Walt Disney World, at least I know.
That was because of 9/11, actually. That was a 9/11 thing that they took them away. And then when they brought them back, they didn't shoot them at any living creature. That was the kind of compromise for having them. And they just shoot blanks. So, no, they're still very much there in Disneyland. I just haven't seen them much in Disney World. I don't think I saw them today.
Another one that you kind of actually get nowadays too, it's just a little bit written different. Last week they overturned 6 of our boats. Only 5 of them were mine though.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I like that one. This one's kind of messed up, so I'm going to read it. Look, rare, beautiful, majestic hippos. Endangered species. Less than 300 left in the wild. I think I'll shoot me a couple. Bang, bang. That's messed up,
That is.
right?
That would never pass today. Nope.
No, no.
No approval on that one. Not writing off on that one. Ooh. That's pretty terrible.
It's really terrible. Like, I'm shocked that that even made it in here.
That's like the, animal conservation efforts and stuff they had for Animal Kingdom. That's like direct opposite of that. Just so
Now,
interesting.
I do like you have on here highlighted, but I'll just do the setup and then you can give yours. Is when the gun doesn't fire, because sometimes there's a malfunction, so you always need to have like a backup. Do you want to do your highlighted one?
I wasn't there. I scrolled forward.
Okay, I got it. This is what Kate was gonna read. When the gun doesn't fire. Click, 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 click. That clicking sound really scares them. I like that one. That one's good.
Sorry, I had forgotten I highlighted that one.
Or Disney's gone bankrupt. We can't afford bullets anymore. I think that one's funny too.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so current day. This is actually one of my favorites that they do. I think it's clever. It says, "It looks like the hippos are angry. I'll scare them off like I did my last boyfriend. I love you. I want a commitment."
Yeah, they do that. They do that. There's a lot of different variations of that.
Yeah.
But it's basically the same as like scaring them off with your emotionally damaged relationships at best. Yeah. I've seen that a decent amount. You still also get the, luckily 5 of them were mine, on the capsized boat. You get that for sure. And I've also heard them do a crash joke here. Or no, they don't do a crash joke. They do a charge joke where they go, it's something about, what's the setup line for it? It's like a credit card joke where it's like, don't worry, kids. They won't charge here because they don't take credit cards. Something along that line.
That's funny. Okay, back to the 50s.
To the 50s.
We have the gorillas.
Gorillas.
Now, these gorillas, they only show up in the early years. This is actually kind of fun fact, and we might have to revisit this one again later, but there were 2 gorillas that appeared at this point in the ride, and they eventually they were relocated a couple times and then they were removed. One of them was moved to the Matterhorn and became a Yeti. So he was repurposed.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's really fun. Have
And
you told that story?
Yeah, and I believe that one is Harold is his name. And now he's in the Guardians of the Galaxy. He's actually in that loading area. Like if you were in Tower of Terror, it would be like the basement area, right? So it's the same kind of area. They have the collector has a whole bunch of stuff in there, and Harold is hanging out in there. So
that's like the coolest room I've seen on people's like lives and stuff. Because I think there's a Figment in there, and there's a bunch of like weird creatures and stuff. Which is cool. Lots of Easter eggs.
Area. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So these are the lines for the gorilla. Why don't you do the 1951?
A gorilla. Let's get out of here. Another one. We're surrounded. I mean, I would say these things. A gorilla. Let's get out of here. Like, you want to get away from a gorilla. They're not.
And kind of an interesting fact about the gorillas, they used a lot of, like, real animal skins back in the day.
Yeah, they did.
And the ants that were local, the ants that were there, not the traveling ants, the local ants, they actually like ate away at the skin, which is super gross. So it's
delicious.
They had to stop using like the real animal skins. They had to start making like synthetic ones because of they wouldn't eat that.
Yeah, it's funny.
So
like
gross.
Ants absolutely love gorillas in animal skin, but uncles not so much.
Anyway, the 1960s gorilla jokes, or gorilla script, I should say. But look ahead, a giant gorilla. And there's another. They weigh at least 600 pounds. Why, that one must have an arm spread of over 8 feet. He might yank us right out of the boat. That's it.
Maybe he will. Or maybe he won't.
And I believe after that the gorillas disappear.
Nope, I got 70s.
Okay.
I have official and supplemental. But we're not out of danger yet. Look, 2 giant gorillas. These heavyweights grow up to 600 pounds with an open arm span of more than 8 feet. Just about long enough to yank you out of the rear of the boat. Supplemental is, we're swinging very close to shore, and those gorillas have been known to reach down into the boat. Look out in the back. Their favorite color is whatever the color guest is wearing. I like that one. That's a good joke.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I like that. Interactive.
So, yeah, the other one on the 80s is the gorillas and the crocodile. But I think that one is not these gorillas because this is actually when the camp starts coming in, I believe. So we've already read that one because of that. So.
Dumb question. The gorilla and the croc, does that still exist in Disneyland? Like where he's like hitting the croc's mouth shut? Does that still exist? No. Did that ever exist? Was that just concept art I had drilled in my head?
Yeah, I don't think that. No, I don't think so.
You know the concept art though, right?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I just don't think so. I think it was replaced. But we'll revisit that when we go scene by scene.
Yeah, the only reason why I said it is because it mentions specifically the knuckle sandwich. So I don't know if it was like a punchy, and it says a snappy personality with a croc and a knuckle sandwich. So I don't know if that was in reference to that. Okay.
So we're going to hop back to the 1950s and the moment you've all been waiting for. The backside of water. Backside of water. But it wasn't the backside of water. Kirk, do you want to read what we had in the 1950s for behind Schweitzer Falls?
I guess we better go behind the falls this time. It's going to be close. Hope you don't mind a few drops of water.
Sad.
Guess we better go behind the falls this time. What in the world? It's like I know they had to build Disneyland in
the falls.
I know they had to build Disneyland in a year, but you know.
They were tired. They didn't have time for script writing. They're like,
yeah, they were like, dude, whatever. Just get behind the water. You're lucky this thing is even moving. Yeah.
Okay, so then for the 1960s, again we approach beautiful Schweitzer Falls with a unique rock formation carved by the falls over the years. It's a different view this time, from behind. Uh-oh, white water ahead, the rapids of Kilimanjaro. Let's keep our arms inside the boat. It's going to be very close, very treacherous here. You see the rocks are jagged. Someone grab the rudder. Watch that big rock on the right. Easy, we made it. That's actually a little bit after the falls, so, but that's as exciting as it gets.
Well, I mean, that feigned excitement still is not horrendous. I'm not against it.
No.
All right, moving right along. We're approaching beautiful Schweitzer Falls again. The overhanging rock formation gives us a chance for a different view this time. Whitewater ahead, folks, talking about the rapids. The rapids of Kilimanjaro. If we're not careful, these jagged rocks may rip out the bottom of our boat. Don't worry, though. I made it through dozens of times. To a nearby guest. Once, I even brought the boat back. I like that. That's a good one.
That is good.
Watch that big rock on the right. Well, it looks like we made it.
Yep.
Do you like any of the supplemental ones?
Do I like any of them?
Yeah.
I haven't. I moved on to the 80s.
Okay. All right. I got one. By the way, this lady over here on my right has volunteered to be the captain. So if we sink, she goes down with the ship, not me.
Oh, yeah. I like those ones.
I like that one. I think that one's funny.
We see that one come back.
All right. Do your 80s.
The 80s, unfortunately, I don't have that because
do your 90s.
The script is gone. So, let's see. Schweitzer Falls. The 90s have a lot of jokes. Like a ton.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Beautiful Schweitzer Falls is upon us again. The overhanging rock formation will afford us a different view this time. I have a special treat for you folks. You may never have seen this before. There it is, the backside of water. Ta-da!
Yay!
Now this might have come up in the 80s because we saw a lot of jokes that actually did start in the 80s, but I'm missing those pages of script. So there's a good chance that that joke actually did start in the 80s, but for sure it was there by the 90s. And then I also have one, I like this one a lot. It says, "Now kids, don't try to see this at home as you'll hit the back of your head on the faucet."
That's funny.
Oh, and then this one is one of my favorites. So if you're at night and you're going behind the falls, it says, "Ladies and gentlemen, Walt Disney proudly presents Phantasmic." And the guide then sings part of the song while shining his flashlight on the back of the water and ends in a squeaky voice saying, "Some imagination, huh?"
I love that. Do they do that ever?
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, I remember it from the 90s. I specifically remember them doing that. I
Oh,
thought it
that's
was the
so
best
much
thing
fun.
ever.
That's
Dun, dun,
that. They
dun,
should do that one again.
dun, 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 dun. Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Super fun. They should bring that back.
Yeah, I like that. That's great. All right. In the year 2000. In the year 2000. And now the moment you've all been waiting for. The amazing, the colossal, the stupendous, the eighth wonder of the world. The backside of water. O2H. 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 That's a little bit of a chemistry joke for you guys. I do tell them periodically. I like this. And over here, I've never heard anybody say this ever. And this is fantastic. And over here is the front side of rock.
That's a Disneyland one.
Oh, that's so good.
Because they tell all their rock jokes, like the granite one and stuff. They tell that right after the falls. They say, like, "I don't take it for granted."
Okay, so ours happen on the African Velt, and yours happen after
Right
this.
after the falls.
Now, do they ever do? Because we've gotten some people have said it's not very common, but they'll say something about the star of the new Disney Jungle Cruise movie, The Rock, and they'll just point at The Rock.
I haven't heard it, but that doesn't mean that they don't say it.
Yeah.
It's possible. Okay, so we've got Schweitzer Falls. We did backside of water. Yep. And then that really much... sorry, that was a sentence good.
That really much.
Really much. There's only a few more lines in the one from the 1950s because it just kind of is
incomplete.
Done at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to read the one that's for the unloading part of that?
Sure. And now comes the most dangerous part of our trip, the return to civilization and crowded freeways. That's a joke. Mm-hmm. Come back again, folks. You're the bravest party I've ever had.
So the return to civilization really has been there since the 1950s. There's not a lot that has been there the entire time. I feel like, no, I don't even think, I was going to say waving to the dock, but that didn't even come in until later either. So,
well, even this joke, there's a rewrite on the secondary one that still is used today with the come back again, folks. You're the bravest party I've ever had. It's now been updated. So there is a change to that. When we get to the 2000s, I'll mention it.
Yeah. So the unload for the 1960s, it says, "Now around the bend comes the most dangerous part of our journey, the return to civilization. As we approach the landing, I suggest you step off the dockside. If you feel your feet getting wet, you've gone the wrong way. Thanks for being aboard the Disneyland Jungle Cruise down the rivers of adventure. Visit us again soon in Walt Disney's Magic Kingdom." Because that's what they called Disneyland for a long time, till the Magic Kingdom came about.
Mm-hmm. Now, I have a question.
Yeah.
Because now we have more stuff beyond the unload in the 70s. Because in the 70s, we have more from either the native / Headhunter camp and Trader Sam's before the unload.
Yeah. So do we want to continue to do the unload just so they're all together, or do we want to hop to the native camp?
let. I don't know if I want to go back in time. I feel like we should do the native camp and then finish all the unloads after
Okay.
that, because like systematically, just that's where they kind of belong. But we didn't have anything else for the other ones.
Sure. Okay. So starting in the 70s, we have not talked about these scenes yet, just because we're going to move scene by scene in our next episodes. But we did used to have a native camp and headhunter country, which has been since replaced recently, fairly recently, with the updated scenes. But so they have one that says, now we're entering into headhunter country. You can tell by the stack of skulls in the tribal burial canoe. Up ahead is a native village. I'll try to get us as close as possible. It looks like they're celebrating the kill of a lion, probably caught raiding the village. We'll have to get by here without being seen, or they'll be celebrating over us too. Sometimes they try to ambush us along here. Watch those bushes ahead! Oh, they're on the left this time. Duck down, everybody, hurry! These tribesmen grow to a height of 7 feet or more, and they have only one aim in life: to get ahead.
Mm-hmm. Which is the start of that, the old
Yes.
ahead.
They do have a lot of supplemental ones, though, to kind of change them up, and I won't read all of these. They have one that says, by the way, folks, these 2 trophies on the witch doctor's hut belong to 2 of the nicest tourists who ever took a shortcut through the jungle. So there's that one will kind of come back to, so I wanted to make sure we put that in there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and then let's be real quiet as we pass this native village. My last crew was invited to lunch, and there they are. Only I escaped. They must be having a good time, though, because they're still smiling.
I like that.
Yeah. Is there any for the 80s one? I don't think there is. I feel like those pages are...
I think that one's incomplete.
Yeah. We do have the Trap Safari, but we don't have anything else. So, to the 90s we go.
To the 90s.
So, this one, we have the Native Village. We have the... Twice, apparently. And the Native Attack. Do you want to read some of these, Kirk?
Sure. Let me do, I also have Headhunter territory just before that. So why don't I'll do Headhunter territory first. Uh-oh, we're now entering into Headhunter territory. Not a good place to be headed. Shh, we're entering Headhunter country now. Don't make a sound. In that canoe over there, there's some of the natives' arts and crafts. Arts are the ones... Wait, art's the one on the top. You know, though, it's sadly, I don't think a lot of people would get that joke because there's not a lot of people named Art anymore.
No, it's kind of an old name. Yeah.
Yeah. You want to do Native Village?
Yeah. Native Village. I studied their language in college. Let's see if I can pick up a little. Put your right foot in, you shake it all about. Put your right foot out, you shake it all about.
I don't know.
I remember that part. I remember them singing the Hokey Pokey.
Yeah.
I have memories of that from when I was
I
a
don't
kid.
know. See, all right, you don't have this one highlighted, but it's funny to me. Hey, look, it's the village people. Let's see what they're saying. YMCA. It's very 90s, the YMCA.
It is. And this one says, this group is trying to come up with a name for themselves for their upcoming CD. They have 2 choices, either the village people or fine young cannibals.
See?
Good
They
old
get it.
90s jokes.
90s humor. Yeah.
Yeah. And then they have the native attack, which is like is then after the native.
That's like the
scene.
ambush part.
Yeah. This one is kind of interesting. It says, on the left, a friendly group of native traders. Aka Muka Laka Ubunga Swahili Angawa. And they say all the kind of like words. It's a good thing I speak their language. And then he turns to guest. They want to trade their coconuts for your wife, child, husband. I think we should hold out for at least 4.
It's good negotiating tactics.
Yeah.
You want more coconuts, kids, if you don't get that.
Yeah. So that scene was replaced And then it was replaced with like the monkeys and chimps area. That's what we got there in the
Yeah.
2000s. Well, fairly recently, really.
Monkey chimps in the boat as well as the butterfly scene are the butterfly scene replaced the native attack, and the gorilla sinking ship, at least in Walt Disney World, was where they had like the tribal dancing.
Yeah, it's the same in Disneyland.
Oh, okay.
So they have I have one joke from that. It says, last week we had a guest on here that said, your job's so easy, even a monkey could do it. And while they're right, those are apes, totally different.
I like that. That's funny.
Do you have any jokes from that section?
Yeah, they do in the butterfly section is all of those butterflies are certainly not what they used to be. Caterpillars.
Ah,
It's always that one. Yeah, that's good. That's all I got.
so then after that, is that just unload after that, right?
Not for us. We still have
Trader Sam's.
We still have Trader Sam's
And Python. Python. I can't say that word. Python.
and your Python is located really strangely because like ours is basically right after Inspiration Falls, and yours is right
It's
before
almost
you
at the
leave.
end. It's like
Yeah.
you're turning to leave. You actually turn. You see, it's the Piranha, and then it's the Python, and then it's Trader Sam, and then it ends.
So why don't we do double P here and look for Piranha Python stuff, and then we'll do Trader Sam last, and then finish up the remainder unloads.
Okay, that sounds
Is that
good.
fair? Okay. Going back to school. All right, we are already done with the 50s because we've done the unload. Let's
Yeah, and
go
I
to the
don't.
60s.
I don't think there's much for the 60s for that.
There's nothing for Python. Nope. So
We
into
might
the
have to go-
70s.
we have to go back to these 70s. There's some supplemental jokes for the 70s that are just really funny, that are just kind of random ones. So at the end, maybe we'll visit some of our favorites here.
Yeah. I'm not
Yeah.
seeing any Python jokes.
I don't see anything either. I see plants.
Yep.
We did plants. That was last week.
Yep. No piranhas. All right. Into the 80s.
I think that the first time we see it is in the 90s. Really.
Okay. Into the 90s.
Into the 90s. I have the toucans too. There were some toucans that were there at that point. And
Yeah,
so
we didn't have those before that. Why don't you do the toucans one right now, and I'll queue up the pythons.
toucan do much better than one can. It's true. I mean, same.
I like this one because I worked in the beer business. Over there on the right, you can see a branch of toucans, and of course, 3 toucans makes a 6-pack.
And then we have this is the scene with the rapids of Kilimanjaro, which is also where we have the piranha that come up. If we start sinking, we'll have to lighten our load. Turns to guest. You folks over there want to get your belongings together. You may be leaving us shortly. Hang on, we're coming across some white water here. One of those jagged rocks could easily rip the bottom of our boat, which we kind of heard earlier with the falls. If we start to go down, just grab for the bright red seat cushions, which is a color not on the boat. They're the only ones that float. On the right, here are some fascinating rock formations. Really interesting. It's sad, though. I come through here all the time, point these out to people, but they just take them for granted. Yeah, told you. That's where that one comes in.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're in the dangerous rapids of Kilimanjaro, and in the water there's dangerous pointy things which can sink the boat. That would be bad because there on the right-hand side is bubbling, deadly man-eating piranha. Even worse, on the other side of the boat, deadly woman-eating piranha.
Is that where you see food? Like, is like your eatery over there? Is there an actual eatery over there or no?
No, you don't see any food there.
Okay.
It's just piranha coming up out
Gotcha.
of the water, going psh.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to do that python water buffalo section?
Sure. Pythons are one of the less intelligent animals in the jungle. If they were smart, do you think they would be hugging a dead tree stump when food is all around them? Hey folks, you know most snakes hiss. Well, here on the world famous Jungle Cruise, we only have snakes that grunt. Listen, water buffalo makes a grunting noise. See? That's a good timing. I like that.
That's good. They also have ones, the cadence of like the kids'
I
one is
like that one. That one's good.
Monty and Elmira sitting in a tree. Kissing. And looking at the python sitting in the tree. Hissing. Oh, I see. Okay, sorry. I messed that up. It was like to the tune of the poem.
Yeah, yeah.
K-I-S-S-I-N-G. And then this look at the python sitting
Monty
in the
and
tree.
yeah. Also weirdest names ever. Monty and
I've never
Elmira.
heard that before.
Yeah.
Because we've always filled in our own names for it. Isn't that interesting? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all 90s for the python water buffalo.
Hang
There's a
on,
couple-
I like this one. Hey folks,
Okay.
what sound does a snake make? Hiss. Oh, come on, the jokes aren't that bad. I like that. That's funny.
That one is good. So then we have Trader Sam, I think, is coming next. And I know Trader Sam was earlier as well.
Hang on. In the year 2000s, before we get into Piranha Python, and then we'll do
so
Trader
sorry.
Sam. No, you're good.
I was
You're
just
good.
ready
Year
to go.
2000.
I was excited about Trader Sam.
In a serious tone for the piranhas, now we're entering the dangerous whitewater rapids. We're now leaving the dangerous whitewater rapids. I like that's
love that
funny.
one.
That's
That
really
one's
funny.
really- Oh yeah, I love that one.
I like that. Python. Don't get too close to that python. He might get a crush on you. It's a constricting relationship, not something you want to get wrapped up in. Yeah, that's a great one. I love all those.
Was there any
Trader
more?
Sam. Nope. Going back to Trader Sam's now.
Trader
Back
Sam.
to the future.
The first time we see Trader Sam show up is in the 1970s, so that's where we're starting here. So there's Trader Sam up ahead. He's the head salesman around the jungle. Sam has a special going on today, but the only trouble is he's insisting on a trade-in. 2 of his for 1 of yours.
Yeah, which has been the norm to use that one when Trader Sam still existed.
I feel like we might have seen it here in the 80s, but I don't see it on here. Oh, I was hopeful. Nope. I don't have it in my 80s script. That doesn't mean it wasn't there in the 80s. I just don't happen to have that page.
Yeah, I'm sure it existed. We just don't have it.
Because if it was in the 70s, it was probably
Yeah,
in the 80s.
there's it. Yeah, because it's still carried over into the 90s. Trader Sam. All right. And here we have Sam the Trader. Sam is the head salesman in these parts. This will probably make you wonder, why can't he get a decent dental plan? Well, business has been shrinking lately, so he has a special 2-for-1 offer. 2 of his heads for 1 of yours. Do we have any volunteers? You, madam, points to the woman in the boat. Your hand was up. Are you ready to jump? We'll count to 3. 1, 2, 3. You didn't jump. You changed your mind? Women always do. Ooh.
In the 90s.
Ooh.
In the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Yup. We have, there's old Trader Sam, head salesman of the area. Business has been shrinking lately, so this week only Sam's offering a 2-for-1 offer, a special 2 of his for 1 of yours. So again, very similar to the joke even from the 70s. Didn't change that much. Oh, you gotta do that last one. That one's funny.
So hang on. Some of these jokes are funny, but like you have to kind of see the prop. So his business has been shrinking lately. It's because he's holding shrunken heads in his hand. If you didn't understand like what that's coming from. This is my good friend Sam, who runs the Cannibal Cafe. The last time I talked to Sam was at his cafe. I told him I didn't like his brother very much. He told me next time have the salad.
So gross.
It's gross and awesome. I also like this one. Trader Sam was thrown out of college. Yeah, he was caught buttering up one of his professors. Now he's a psychologist. You can tell who his clients are. He's a shrink. And to the ones on the left and the right are his basket cases, because there's also heads in baskets, which I like. Yeah.
You like heads in baskets.
I like buttering up my professors. That makes me laugh. That's funny.
Oh, gosh.
Year 2000s?
Oh, wait, I like this one too. Sam
Okay.
had me over for dinner the other night. I enjoyed it and said to him, "Your wife sure does make a good chili." He said, "Yeah, but I'm sure gonna miss her."
Yeah. Well, she was a tasty dish.
Oh my gosh. All right.
Anywho's. Yeah.
So, on to the unload, return to civilization.
Not yet. Not yet. We got
Oh. Well, I keep
updated.
skipping it.
So you're good. That's why I'm here. Trader Sam this in the 2000s. I love the little guys on the left. They've been trying to set a record for weeks. They remind me of work, though, just going round and round and round and round.
The little monkeys on the record.
Yep. Oh, Ellie, the elephant. A lot of people think that she sprays water out of her nose, but it's actually snot. Yep.
But actually, it's not.
Yeah, it's snot, like boogers, but not boogers. It's like
It's
not,
actually
but boogers,
not.
not.
When you guys
the
get
oth-
that in Disney World, like sooner with the
We get it with the squirting elephants. We don't get it here at Trader Sam's.
yeah.
The other one that we get that I really like is we still have in that gift shop. So now Trader Sam is gone. It's been reimagined and it's Trader Sam's gift shop. So we'll usually get, and no Walt Disney World ride would be complete without a visit to the gift shop. We're excellent over here at Trader Sam's gift shop at capsizing. So if you need to get a hat, we can find it for you. So like because there's a hat. It's Trader Sam's hat, the guy that was there prior. So
Yeah, Trader Sam. This we'll go over this more when we do this scene, but basically he stepped out, and he's supposed to be back at some point.
yeah,
That's kind of the story.
I like the capsizing line because I feel that almost nobody gets it, and it's so clever. It's
Yeah.
very clever because boat
Capsizing.
capsize and then make sure you get the right size hat capsizing. I love
Yeah.
it. It's a good one.
And did you see today that this is kind of hopping back to the queue for just a quick second, little rabbit trail. I found that paddle that was actually in the front of the queue way back in the day.
yeah.
It's in the gift shop.
Yeah.
I was so excited to see
Yeah,
that. I
that's
was
really
like,
cool.
yeah, it's the one that says lost on it. Looks like it has a bite taken out of it. But that used to be in the very beginning of the queue. If you guys remember from our Walt Disney World episode, we did show a picture of that back then. So
Yeah, that's really cool.
yeah, the fact that it's there. So
I still have to remember, unless you've already looked it up, the location of the logs, the singing logs, to see if they were there where that little circular.
in the pictures, they look like they were. But
Right?
like, of course, I was talking to a cast member today. So what I'm talking about with Kirk is there, and now you guys, is today I noticed that there is a circular drain, and it clearly is like a drain. But then there's rocks around it, and it is almost in the same location as where the talking logs or the leaky tikis, like the tiki fountains that spray you. That's they used to be in front of the Jungle Cruise, right? We talked about that in the previous episode. But it looks like it's the same location as this like circle with these stones, and it looks so intentional. It doesn't look like if they wanted to put a drainage grate, they could have just put like a square one in or something. They didn't have to do like this fancy circle. Why would they do this like circle with these rocks around it? It's very fascinating to me that would be there. So I'm going to do a little bit more digging to confirm that. I don't want to like make assumptions. That's not something we do here. But it seems likely that it's a little nod to where they used to be.
We shall
That's
see.
all I'm saying.
We just need to look at photo references and then come from there. So, all right, all the way to we've already done unload for the 50s and the 60s.
Yep. So we're headed to the 70s. There's some ones that, depending on the year, there's some that are return to civilization, and then there's like actual unload. So it depends on, but we can kind of group them together because they're almost the same. It's like the approach to the docks and then the docks. So in the 1970s, do you want to do those ones real quick?
Sure. Hang on. Is 60s green? I always get.
70s is green, and that's probably where we're at because we already did the 60s.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. All right. So I have for the 70s. Now comes the most dangerous part of your journey: civilization and the California freeways. And
I know.
You're gonna make me
I'm
read all these
sorry.
ones. And women drivers.
I know you don't like saying it, so I appreciate that you don't like saying it.
It's okay, and remember this is historical context, but they're brutal.
Yeah.
Please keep your hands and arms inside the boat. Sometimes I scrape the dock. Check for all your personal belongings, cameras, purses, small children, anything you left aboard for more than 3 days, we throw to the crocodiles. Oh, and by the way, men, if your mother-in-law is still aboard, you missed your golden opportunity.
It's terrible.
So bad.
They really love the mother-in-law jokes. They just...
Yeah, they really... man, dude, like, how bad is she? I hope you enjoyed your cruise, folks. Be sure to come back again and see us again if you have the courage. Yeah. I like some of these ones that are written down in the actual, like the scans from the script, too.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have any on here that you like or want to read. Like, here's another messed up one. Oh, God. As you leave the boat, close one eye. That way the unloaders only look half as ugly. It's so...
That's terrible. Okay, I like this one. All right. Rise like bread. Don't loaf around. I know that's a crummy joke. It's just my wry sense of humor. Needs a lot of work, actually.
Oh, I love that. He probably did that joke for the dough. This is another one that makes fun of the unloaders. We said this earlier when you were on your live stream, is like how much they really beat up on cast members and guests. The unloader is actually a retired movie star. You can tell by the film on his teeth. It's so gross. Brush your teeth, bro. I liked it so much, I think I'll go again and again and again and again.
Oh, there's like a whole section of he's so ugly. Like you're like your mama's so fat, but it's like he's so ugly.
You can read them. There's 4 of them.
Okay. He's so ugly. When he was a child, his parents had to tie a stake around his neck to get the dog to play with him.
Oh, God.
Oh, it's terrible.
That's a really old joke, too.
He's so ugly. When he cries, the tears run down the back of his head.
Oh.
He's so ugly, his parents had to feed him with a slingshot.
I didn't want to get near him.
Oh, gosh. He's so ugly, when he was born, the doctor cried.
And the unloader. To the unloaders. These are the Lee brothers. Ugly and homely. It's so bad. Like, it's just nothing but ripping on them.
Okay, this is in keeping with our policy of not being touched by human hands here on the Jungle Cruise. We have these 2 unloaders to help you off the boat. Implying that they're not human. Oh gosh. Yeah.
This is a weird one, but I have to tell it because again, this is like context. Picking out an attractive girl on the Jungle Cruise boat and specifically calling her out. Watch out for the girl in the blue, guys. I saw her throw her phone number to the gorillas, but they kept throwing it back.
Oh, man.
Like messed up.
This one's kind of like interesting. It says, don't miss the electrical parade. It's in Florida. So they're talking about the Main Street electrical parade.
Yeah. I like this one. This is a good saying. All right, everybody up. Off your seats and on your feet.
Oh, you would say that.
I would totally say that.
You're
Off your
start
seats and on
it.
your feet. Oh, this is yoink.
Oh, and this one's, I think it says, and just remember, folks, wherever you go in life, there you are.
It's true.
Yeah,
You're right there.
Spitting
You're right
facts.
there. Never have I ever thought we would be telling "You're so ugly" jokes on Distory, but here we are reading scripts. These aren't originals.
I would never say those kinds of things in like real life.
We're now into Return to Civilization, or are you still reading 70s? I don't see anything for 80s.
Yeah. No, we can move on. Yeah, to the 90s, I guess. Yeah.
To the 90s, return to civilization. Now, probably the most dangerous part of your journey, the return to civilization. I hope you've enjoyed your cruise. However, if your in-laws are still with you, you've missed a golden opportunity. However, bring them back later tonight for our in-law special. Halfway for half fare. No questions asked.
They milked those in-law jokes.
The in-law jokes are huge.
Somebody really didn't like their in-laws.
Do you want to read the next one?
Yeah, now we're entering the most dangerous part of our journey, the trip home on the Santa Ana freeway. Dangerous for you, that is. I'm here till midnight. I'll tell you what, they're not lying, because that Santa Ana freeway is something else.
So I like this. We're getting closer to some of the things that I've seen. Up there, you'll see there are 2 docks at the end of this ride. Don't get confused. It's a paradox. And those 2 guys up there are a pair of dorks. They still say that one today. And then I haven't heard this one ever. It's a good one. Please keep your hands inside the boat. I sure don't want to ruin my new dock.
Now comes the most perilous part of the trip, our return to civilization and my attempt to ram the dock.
Oh, this is interesting. If you've had a good time on this ride, my name is Skipper Kirk, and this is the Jungle Cruise. If you didn't have a good time, my name is Skipper Kate on the keelboats. Yeah, keelboats like reference.
The Mike Fink keelboats.
The Mike Fink keelboats.
Or
Storybook
Land.
Or the
Submarine Voyage.
Submarine Voyage.
Yeah.
Yeah, which we do get. We do sometimes get the different name for skips.
I like this one. Enjoy your day at the second most happiest place on Earth. What's the happiest? The employee parking lot 15 minutes after close. I don't feel like they would ever say that today. I feel like that's like a no.
I feel like your coordinator would immediately call you in.
Mm-hmm. And then I hope you enjoy the rest of your day at the largest human trap ever built by a mouse. I feel like we heard that a lot in the 90s, and then it got really tired, and then it went away. But that was a thing.
Unload?
I have to say this one first.
Okay.
I certainly enjoyed having you aboard the Jungle Cruise today, and I hope you all enjoyed being had or being taken. Okay, unload in the 1990s. Go for it, Kirk.
As you exit the boat, please watch your step and mind your head. If you miss your step and hit your head, watch your language. Disneyland is a family place. It's so good.
We also see do stand up off your seats and on your feet. That one's also there. Gosh, please exit the boat the same way you entered, pushing and shoving. Oh, look, here's Tweedledee and Tweedledummer. Ouch.
Oh. I'm officially no good at anything now. These are all good.
Now, as you're leaving the boat, if you find your shoes rapidly filling with water, you've gotten out on the wrong side.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Did you read the Small World one?
Mm-mm.
Please make sure you have all your children with you. We take children left behind over to It's a Small World, and we nail, bolt, and super glue their feet to the floor and force them to sing that song over and over and over.
I think that's my favorite.
It's so messed up. It's so amazing. We nail, bolt, and super glue their feet to the floor and force them to sing that song. That is a nightmare. Oh my gosh.
We see this one actually earlier too, and it says, please be sure to tell your friends how much you enjoyed the Jungle Cruise. It helps keep the lines down. I think we even hear that today. That one's stuck around. Oh, and this one's like a reference to Main Street Electrical Parade. It says, and after searching for your car on our beautiful 100-acre parking lot, be sure to watch the Taillight Electrical Parade with thousands of sparkling lights twinkling into the distance. And the best part of the parade, you get to be part of it.
Now, this one, I think this is more of like a reading one, which sometimes puns are just better read than they are seen because of the way things are spelled. But please, please, when you're unloading, don't go out the window. You'll get a window pane, like P-A-N-E.
Oh, yeah.
I like that one, but it doesn't work as well.
Spelling jokes, yeah.
Spelling jokes don't work as well.
Man, those are good. Should we move on to current day?
This is weird too. So this is the first time. This is just contemporary piece, so I just want to mention it real quick. If you'd like to see me on the David Letterman show next month, please write him a letter and tell him you would like to see me there. It's like I don't know why, but you know.
Yeah, that's integrating that current trends, which is something we did. We saw that a lot in the 90s. The 90s is like when we started seeing that a lot creep into the script. Before that, it was fairly generic. Yeah,
we don't really, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't really get a lot of contemporary humor, like things that are modern right now going on. Like there hasn't really been that many changes to the script to include things that have happened in the last like 3 years.
No, I feel like it was a trend in the 90s, like in these scripts, and then it looks like they revised them to say like, maybe this isn't the way to go with this.
Yeah.
So, we just kicked out Eisner and then things got better.
Can you just tell me when the era of the golden age of animation was? The Renaissance, if you will? The rebirth?
Yep. With Frank Wells. 1994, Kirk, 1994.
I know. Who was the CEO, though? I'm so tired. Who was the CEO during that time period?
They don't do that.
Didn't Phantasmic come out under Eisner? That's crazy, because that wasn't animation. That was a really good show.
It wasn't developed. It was developed before that.
Oh my gosh. Was he in charge of the whole company, though? In that period? It's crazy.
Did he ruin the whole company?
Did he? Or do we still have nostalgia for all the things that are there and most of the princesses that existed? I don't know.
Yeah, but weren't those really made before Frank Wells passed away? So it really was more under his leadership than Eisner.
Might have been. Did we get extra
maybe we
gates?
should do like a whole episode debating.
Did we get extra gates that didn't exist? We wouldn't have as many gates if that was like for the expansion. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't know anything.
I know. It's almost like we did a 3-hour episode debating this topic.
3-hour tour.
Okay, let's do current unload jokes, and then we should just go back and just read a couple of the random jokes that are just kind of.
I think that would be a lovely idea.
Okay, great.
I'm uncomfortable.
I'm glad you're on board.
I am on board. This is a boat, you know.
You're on board, yeah.
I don't know why you have to be so stern with me, Kate.
I just sail off into the sunset, Kirk.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, unload in the current day. Well, it looks like our time together is finally coming to an end. I'm Skipper Kate, and I'd like to thank you for traveling with me today. You folks have been an outstanding crew, and pretty soon you'll be outstanding over there on the dock. So, just different, very similar to all the ones that we've already kind of heard. Just another one. Do you have another one for that?
The other one that I get a decent amount is along the lines of, now I'm going to tell you the things that my parents told me when I turned 18. Get out. Sorry, that wasn't nice. Please, get out.
Yeah, that one's pretty
That's pretty
standard.
common.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I have some extra jokes. Maybe we'll just say some extra jokes from various eras, and we can just kind of tell them where they're from, because they're everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
From the 90s, I have one that says, before I came to the jungle, I worked in an orange juice factory, but I got canned. Couldn't concentrate. My boss almost beat the pulp out of me. They really put the squeeze to me, too.
I have a really good follow-up joke, but it's not appropriate. But it's really funny.
It's a family show, Kirk. Family show. Family show. Moving on. There's also one from the 90s that said, I used to work in a watch factory. I sat around making faces all day. Good old little 90s.
I love that. That one's good.
Joke. Let's see some other ones we have.
All right, I got one.
Okay.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Safari.
Safari who?
Safari so good, you'll be on the Jungle Cruise in a few minutes. That was from The Q in the 90s.
Oh, may I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? Thank you.
Just wanted the attention.
The announcement was, may I have the attention, please?
He was just very happy to get your attention.
Okay. Oh, did we read this one about the snakes in the rafters?
No, we talked about it, but we never read it. No.
All right. So this is from the 70s. It says the Encyclopedia Britannica lists 132 varieties of poisonous snakes here in the Jungle Cruise. We are proud to announce that we have 43 varieties of poisonous snakes. These are very rare snakes and have been specifically trained only to strike at stationary objects. And for your viewing pleasure, we have placed them all in the rafters directly above your head. Now, since this is potentially dangerous, if you should come to a complete stop and be unable to move forward, and you see the grass up in the rafters start to part, we have 3 suggestions. 1. Stand there and be bitten. 2. Turn to the person behind you and offer that person your place in line. 3. Nudge the person in front of you and whisper sweetly in their ear, move it or lose it. It's so weird.
Move it or lose it.
Move it or lose it. Hit it, Skip. This one also says, I would remind, from the 70s, I would remind you that there's no eating, drinking, or smoking on the Jungle Cruise boats. The only food that will be allowed on will be yourselves. There is one more exception. You may smoke, but only if you're on fire. Oh, we said that one already.
We did.
My
That was a good one,
apologies.
though.
Yeah. Do we say about the loader's feet? Careful not to step on those black ugly things on the dock. Those are the loader's feet. We might have to call a tow truck, and you'd have to foot the bill.
Kate, you are quite the heel. If they were only standing underneath an arch.
Oh, you folks sitting on the center cushion should get a real charge out of it. But that's where we keep the battery. Revolting, isn't it? But it's the current joke making the circuit.
These are all good. I've been thinking about how this has been a really good outlet for me to talk about my humor. So.
Oh my goodness. We could go on for days with jokes. Do you have any other final ones you want to share?
I don't know. I was trying to think of like something that I really enjoy from today's like more just what are some jokes that are really great that we didn't necessarily cover that are just fantastic. I don't know. Honestly, it's the ones that happen once and I never hear them again that I love the most.
The biscuits jokes?
The biscuits jokes are great. I've heard some of them consistently, like hibiscus, low biscus, sea biscus. I've heard one person say the one that I came up with, the none of your biscus. And then we learned that droopy plant over there, limp biscus. Like there have been times where people have added other ones in there. Like
Yeah.
I don't think I've still heard and that plant's favorite breakfast is sausage and biscuits. Like I still haven't, like there's certain ones that I've made up that I haven't heard. So yeah, I don't know. I like when a skipper will come up with their own material and pitch like one or two new lines. Usually the airplane scene has them. Usually the unload scene has them. Or like right before it, especially if they have to riff for a little bit because it's backed up. Then usually that's where we get off script jokes.
Yeah.
Or at least for ours.
Yeah. So we talked about this in the previous episode, but the way it seems to work from everything we've read in like the SOP and whatnot that we have access to is that there's the regular script, there's supplemental materials that they can pull from and kind of like substitute out that are all approved. But skippers can get their jokes approved if they have something specific they want to do, but they have to get it approved before they tell it. So they can't just like go off script and do whatever. I have to say, one of the funniest cruises I've ever been on was a nighttime cruise in Disneyland. And this skipper was so clever because he used the lights of the boat like he was taking a picture. And he would say, postcard, like, I'm taking a picture for a postcard. And so he would roll up to something and he would tell a joke and then he'd just go, postcard, and like flash the lights. And something about it and the comedic timing of it was hilarious. And as that, I've never seen anybody else do it. It was definitely unique to this particular person. I don't know if it was approved or not, but it was one of the funniest cruises I've ever been on. It was very clever.
I've never seen anybody use the lights effectively, where we see it multiple times in this script that at night they can use, like, I love that one. Now on your left side is the fastest elephant in the jungle. Oh, look, see, you got over there. Like, that is, I've never seen that done ever in Walt Disney World, is the use of the light in a comedic way. It's usually just always left on, and when we get to the temple scene, their front light gets turned off, and then it goes back on when we're in the elephant pool. But I've never used it as a prop for comedy, which I think should happen.
Yeah, it was I only saw it once. But, you know, I haven't always done the Jungle Cruise at night multiple times, so I'll have to do that.
I like the Jungle Cruise. If you can go on the Jungle Cruise while the fireworks are going off, you get a lot of extra jokes about the fireworks.
Yeah, it's good times.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, we could read jokes for days, but I feel like that was a lot.
No, I think that's good, and we'll still have more jokes to tell because we'll have to do an overlay episode with the Jingle Cruise, and that's a whole other script. But we're not ready for that.
No,
nope.
The Jingle Cruise is its own episode.
It's its own episode, maybe probably 2 episodes, just because it's a really in-depth overlay. It's my favorite overlay they do in Walt Disney World because we don't get Haunted Mansion Holiday.
Yeah, I'm sad.
But the Jingle Cruise is great. That's okay.
Maybe
and we don't get Small World either.
I know. Small World's fantastic.
Yeah, that's a really good one too.
It's great.
At least they brought the Speedway back, and we do get Living with the Land. Living with the Land is nice.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you, everybody, for joining us for this episode of Distory. We loved chatting with you and sharing all of these wonderful jokes. Some of them maybe less wonderful than others based on the time period, but always interesting. And now we know that, of course, Jungle Cruise wasn't always funny, and some of it, the jokes have actually stuck around from the beginning, and some of them were actually more fairly recent than even the ones that we know really well. So it's been really fun 2 episodes exploring the entire script. If you missed the previous one, it is up on my YouTube channel, Disney Cicerone, and it's also on our podcast at iTunes or wherever you listen, or Spotify, iTunes, wherever you listen to your podcast. So thank you guys for hanging out with us tonight, and we will see you next week for more Distory. Bye.
Bye.